Hi friends, welcome back to our channel Total QA. In today's video, we are going to discuss about how are we going to use TestNG and what is the introduction to TestNG we are going to focus today. So TestNG mainly NG refers to next generation, where in TestNG and JUnit are both Java frameworks used by developers to perform unit testing of their code, but now we are going to use TestNG to automate the manual test cases as part of Selenium. And JUnit is a subset of TestNG. TestNG is so powerful due to its advanced features which are as below. Mainly, you can group the test cases in TestNG. You can group sanity 10 test cases, and also you have a separate group for regression. You can mark 100 test cases for regression. And also, one more important feature of TestNG. In TestNG, we can even parameterize the test cases. So same test cases can be executed on multiple browsers. This is achieved using TestNG. And we can even execute the test cases parallelly in TestNG. We can pass multiple values to the test cases using Excel. This can be achieved using data provider in TestNG, where we can execute the same test case with multiple set of values. And one more important feature of TestNG is TestNG generates very good HTML reports which are useful to showcase to the stakeholders. Suppose if you would like to share the report of the test execution, how many test cases pass or fail, we can have this information automatically getting generated without any manual effort. This report is generated by TestNG in the test output folder. Suppose if you don't find this test output folder, it is important to select the project and press F5 button in the keyboard. Then test output folder will be generated once after we execute the program. I am going to show the demo now for a program in TestNG. Then we can see the content of the test output folder. It generates index.html and emailable report.html. TestNG does not have main method, as Java programs has a main method. TestNG doesn't have any main method. TestNG has annotations. Usually annotations starts with @ symbol. TestNG executes the test cases which are having @ test methods in the alphabetical order. Now, if we are interested to install TestNG on Eclipse, you can refer to this documentation link. This has all the information. Let me open that. Okay, click on this. In this link, click on Download tab. There are different ways of downloading TestNG, but as of now, you can check how are we going to install TestNG on Eclipse as a plugin. So here there are some steps. If you follow these steps, you can easily install TestNG in Eclipse. Okay, in my Eclipse, I just open Help, Eclipse Marketplace. And once it is loaded successfully, I will type TestNG, click on Go. It will search in the marketplace and identify this plugin is available or not. Okay, it is taking some time to search. Yes, we got the results. If you look at in my laptop on Eclipse, this plugin is already installed in my laptop. If you don't find installed here, it means you have to install again. So you will see for some of the plugins it shows install. It means this is not installed here, right? For TestNG, you have to see there's a plugin that's already available for Eclipse. You just need to click on here. There's an install button will be there. Click on install. Continue all the steps. Restart Eclipse. Then this plugin will be installed successfully in our laptop. And once it is installed successfully, how do you validate the TestNG is installed successfully in our laptop? You can even identify from window, show view, just select other, then type TestNG. Okay, you will find the plugin is showing in the search results. It means TestNG is installed successfully in our laptop. And once after that, what we have to do, we have to add one TestNG dependency also. There's a TestNG dependency that has to be added as part of this project. Then it will be easy. If you go to the pom.xml file, try to add one TestNG dependency for TestNG so that you can use TestNG API as well. See here is a TestNG dependency we have to add in the Maven project to start writing the TestNG programs. Before that, the precondition is we have to download the plugin and also we have to have this dependency in the Maven project. And once we are having this dependency, you can even identify this has been installed here in the Maven dependencies. Let me highlight that. It is TestNG 6.14.3 and TestNG. All the packages are also available. org.testng. You can see here there's so much of information is available. Okay, so you can refer to this jar file. Okay, so this is the prerequisite. What is the prerequisite for TestNG? We have to download the plugin. Download the plugin. Let me try to write down. Download the plugin and add TestNG dependency in the Maven pom.xml. That's it. So I'll just put this information also. Okay, so let's get into TestNG and write some programs now. I'm going to create one program now. TestNG annotations. One example I'm going to write. TestNG annotations. So as I said already, we have to write Java methods in TestNG. Suppose public void m1. This is Java method, and I'm going to write another method which is a Java method m2. There are two methods here, m1, m2. These are all not test cases. These two are not test cases mainly. How do we convert a Java method into a test case? If you would like to convert a Java method into a test case, you can just add @test as an annotation before the Java method. If you write this, then this will become, we have to import accordingly, then this will become an TestNG test case. So in this program, there are two Java methods, but only one test case. How do we know? If you execute the program, right click, run as TestNG test. This will show only when you have plugin installed successfully on Eclipse. Click on TestNG test. It shows how many methods? Only one method, that is m1. Why? What's the reason behind? Because the reason behind is m2 doesn't have any annotation. If a method which is available within the program doesn't have any annotation, we call as a Java method. But if you have a method which is having a TestNG @test annotation, then we call this as a TestNG test case. Now let me execute again. Run as TestNG test. Now we will see there are two methods which are available. Okay, so once we execute this TestNG program, if you click on Package Explorer, select the project, right click, refresh, you will see there is a test output folder getting generated. Open this test output folder. Then there is an index.html, right click, open with web browser. Sometimes this will take time, but it is open successfully here, and you can see this information. Yeah. I maximize the browser. You can see the two methods, m1, m2, m1, m2. Now, what is important to focus here is the chronological view. The chronological view will show the execution, the order of execution of the test cases. What is order of execution? Which method, which test case has to be executed when? So chronological view will show the order of execution of the test cases. Here M1 executes first, then M2. The reason being, these two test cases will execute as per the alphabetical order. As per the alphabetical order, M1 will execute first, then M2. Okay, let's look into this example. Try to create the method names like say like A1, like B1. So what will happen when you say A1 and B1? So A1 will execute first. As per the alphabetical order, A1 will come, execute first, and B1 will execute second. Let's execute the program now. See now, A1, B1, and also click on Package Explorer, select the project, right click, refresh the project, then only right click on the index.html and the test output folder, select the index.html, right click, open with browser. Now it shows A1 is executed first, B1 is executed second. Now we wanted to change the order. It is not always as per the alphabetical order. Suppose if I wanted to execute B1 first, I put priority equal to 1. I put priority equal to 2. So what happens? Now as per the alphabetical order, A1 executes first, then B1. To change the order, I can give the priority. What is the advantage of priority? The lowest priority value will execute first. Means when compared to priority 1 and priority 2, priority 1 is having the lower value. So B1 will execute first, then A1. So like this, right click, run as testng test. How? B1, then A1. You can even see the results, but before looking into the results, select the project, right click, refresh. Then we go here and refresh this report. You can see, check the chronological view, B1, A1. Now, what are ignored methods? Let's look into that. Suppose, for example, I wanted to ignore this method. I wanted to ignore B1, not to execute this method. I will mark it as enabled is equal to false. By default, enabled is equal to true. But when you mark it as enabled is equal to false, this method B1 will be ignored. Let's execute the program now. And refresh the project. It is always a good practice to select the project, refresh it. Then you go to the tab here, then again refresh it. You can see the ignored methods. B1 is ignored. Why B1 is ignored? The reason being, we put enabled is equal to false. So what is priority and what is enabled here? Enabled, let's write down, @test attributes. What are the attributes here right now? Priority is an attribute. Similarly, enabled is this one attribute. Priority is one attribute, enabled is one attribute. Now, not only that, you can add a few more attributes here. Suppose I wanted to add a description of the test case. Yes, description is one of the attributes. Say, executing the test case A1. Similarly, we can add a description also here. Description is equal to executing test case B1. We can add a description. So description is also one of the attribute. Description. Now, let's look into the report. Suppose here there is a reporter output. What is the advantage of reporter output here is, suppose you want to log something, you can write as reporter dot is a class, log is a static method, we can say executing the method A1. You can write here, then try to execute the program, just try to see what is the content of it. Then refresh the results now. Click on reporter output, you can see the reporter log also getting generated because we have written reporter.log. Now, let's look into groups. Groups mainly, right now, okay, groups we will discuss in a separate video, but as of now, just focus on the @test annotation, priority, enable, description. There is one more attribute like depends on methods. Let's see what is depends on methods. Suppose right now we have, let's remove priority right now. So say the method B1 is depending on A1. The method B1 depending on A1. So before we execute method B1 and we wanted to execute method A1, in that scenario we can put depends on methods. Depends on methods, we can put curly braces, put A1, the method name you can put. So what happens here? Before executing method B1, this will be getting executed. First A1 is getting executed, then B1 is getting executed. We can even check in the results. In the chronological view section, you can see, in the chronological view section you can see, then we click on this. First A1 is executed, then B1. We can see the time when it starts. 0 milliseconds, then 80 milliseconds. This is the order. Now, suppose for example, the method A1 is failed. We'll make this as failed. Set dot set true, and we will put false here. What happens? This test case will fail. This is an assertion in testng to validate the test case is pass or fail. Based upon the assertions only, the test case will be pass or fail. Here we are looking for true, but we are passing false. The condition is returning a false right now. So this assertion is false. Then finally A1 is false. A1 is failed. We can mark the test case as failed. When this assertion is false, then A1 will be failed. When the dependency method is failed, do we need to execute B1 or not? That is the objective now. So A1 is failed, B1 has to be executed or not. Let's see what will happen in this scenario now. If you look at here, A1 is failed because A1 is expecting true but found false. Here B1 is skipped. So it's very important when the dependency method is failed, the method which is depending on will be skipped. So we have one more attribute. What is the attribute we have seen now? Depends on methods is one of the attribute. And one point we have to make a note on the depends on methods, that is the method which is depending on is failed. The method depends on is marked as skipped. Now one more point. Even though the method A1 is failed, I wanted to execute method B1, because what is happening? If this is getting failed, B1 is skipped, right? Check the console, show view, console. The console shows B1 is skipped. Now, how are we going to execute B1 in this case then? So if you want to execute B1, even though A1 is failed, in that case we have to put here always run equal to true. If you put always run is equal to true, what happens here is, even though A1 is failed, B1 will execute. B1 doesn't depend on the execution status or the test execution status of A1. So B1 will execute in this scenario. See here, B1 is passed, A1 is failed. So this, if you wanted to execute, even though, again, the method which is depending on is failed, but still the method depends on will be executed by adding always run equal to true. Okay, so this we call as soft dependency. This we call as hard dependency because it is failed. This we call as soft dependency. So this is one of the important interview question. What is the difference between hard dependency and soft dependency? In soft dependency, we'll mark always one is equal to 2. Okay. Hard dependency means what? The method which is depending on A1 is failed, B1 is skipped. Then we call as hard dependency. Now, so priority we have covered, enable we have covered, description we have covered, depends on method we have covered. Now, there is one more attribute called timeout. Suppose if we are giving a timeout as say suppose 5000 milliseconds. If the test case is able to execute within the 5000 milliseconds, if the test case is able to execute within the 5000 milliseconds, then the test case is passed. This is mainly helpful in the case of Selenium. If you put timeout here, say the timeout here as 5000. What is the advantage here is if the test case is executed less than 5000 milliseconds, the test case is passed, else the test case will be failed. So this is important to check how much time the test case is taking to execute the program. And in addition to index.html, there is one more report I would like to show you guys, that is emailable report.html. Open it, with web browser. So this is emailable report. This is emailable report, and this shows which are the test cases which are failed. This is A1 is failed. It took 20 milliseconds to execute. B1 is passed, it takes 1 millisecond. And also it shows clearly the included groups, excluded groups, test name, and also default test. All this information you can find in the emailable report. But index.html shows the chronological order, reporter output, ignored methods also we can see in the index.html. Now, right now we are executing a single program. Right now we are executing a single testng program. Suppose if you would like to execute multiple testng programs as a suite, how it is possible? For that reason, we'll create one more program, one more replica of this. I'll just say testng annotations 1. Two programs we have, testng annotations 1.java. I would like to execute both the programs together as a suite. How it is possible? Select this one, right click, select testng, convert to testng. This is creating an XML file. Click on finish. So it is using two class names. Click on finish. This XML file will be created under the project. You can see here, open testng.xml file. This shows that two classes are available. Suppose I don't want to execute a single class. I want to execute only a single class. Remove that. Or I want to execute both. Add that. So it executes in the order. First it will complete this class, then it will complete this class. And once after completion of all the methods available in this class, then the control goes back to the second class to execute the methods available within the class. Okay, this is important to understand how are we going to create XML file. And next thing, suppose if you look at this program testng annotations 1, let me open this program testng annotations 1, and this is the package name org.totalqa.testng annotations. Now what we'll do here is, let's write a program now here. Here in this program we have two different methods, different test cases, A1, B1. Suppose I'm interested to execute only B1 in this class. What I can do, if you go to XML file, I'll just put testng annotations 1 is a class name. I'll just include methods, include the method name. So methods include name is equal to A1. So what happens here? The methods is the tag name we have to use in the XML file, and also include is the tag name we have to use in the XML file, and we are marking name is equal to A1. So let's execute this one. So what happens if I execute this XML file? How are we going to execute this XML file? Select the XML file, right click, run as testng suite. XML should be executed as a suite. When executed as a suite, what happens? It executes. How many methods executed? We are not able to see what is happening. Whenever we are executing the suite, we cannot see any results in the console. The reason being, the logs are automatically not visible to the user. So we have to open testng.xml file. We have to provide a attribute at the suite level verbose equal to 5, which will give the outcome here right now. Save it, select this, then again I click on testng.xml file and that's testng suite. Now we know which method is getting executed. One method is executed, that is failed now. What is that? That is A1. Why only one is getting executed? Because if you look into the testng.xml file, we clearly mention to execute only method M1. The method A1 only will be executed as part of this class name. This is the package name, then this is the class name. And also you have to provide verbose equal to 5. The reason being to execute the test cases. Once we execute the test cases via XML file, to look into the logs in the console, we need to provide 5. If you want to look at more number of logs, put verbose is equal to 10. But as of now, verbose is equal to 5. That is sufficient. If we add it in the XML file, we can see the logs in the console. So as of now, this is information which we need to focus from the introduction perspective of testng. We will cover all the annotations like other annotations like before test, before class, before suite, before groups. All these annotations we will cover in a separate video. But as of now, this is a testng introduction video. So please try to go through the video and please share with your friends. If you like my video, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.